Order what?
Okay.
First thing, we have a new member, Clark Smith.
Morning.
Morning.
And also, Greg Garitos was subpoenaed for something at the state level, and he can't be here today. So he's off the agenda, but some of his stuff will be on the agenda.
Okay, good.
And he will come to the council meeting next week and do his thing then. Mary No has asked to have election for president and vice president, so.
Okay, we're doing Groundhog Day. And to follow procedures as stated by code, we need to walk through the election of the officers of president and vice president again at the January meeting. So I'm asking for nominations for president of the county council.
Wait just a second. First, you should do a motion to revoke the earlier vote that was done before.
Okay, then I guess I need a motion to revoke the previous election of officers.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Now, I would like to have a nomination for president.
Well, I would like to say that it's a wonderful day at the beginning of the year, and Mary gets to prove me right from last meeting that we shouldn't have voted.
He loves that.
Let the record reflect
Yeah.
that
But
kids objected.
having said that,
Yeah, okay.
I would like to nominate Scott Wilbridge as our president and Robin Louder as our vice president.
Second.
I'll second it.
Can somebody, well, someone have to move the nominations be closed.
I will move that the nominations be closed.
I will second the motion.
And
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we have President Scott Woolridge and Vice President Robin Louder. All yours, Jim.
Okay.
Thank God.
Let's start off as usual by reviewing the balances, please. Clark?
Gotta keep you honest.
Just now, show the end of the year, January 31st balances. Yes.
I want to,
Did you have some?
Oh, they can't hear you talking, Mary. It sounds like
Oh.
I think you guys are sharing a microphone down there.
Better?
is that?
Yeah. Thank you.
I just want to maybe
you took it away.
to help Clark a little bit explain as we go. We review these fund balances every month, and that's part of our commitment to our standards to when we apply for a bond or different things that shows that we're staying.
The rating agencies.
The rating agency. That's why you'll see this every month, and it'll be usually the month end prior.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what that's about.
But it's also, we should be doing it even without the rating agencies, but yeah. Because we are a cash kind of accounting system, as you know, Clark, and so.
Oh, appreciate that. There's a little bit more here than the Education and Operations Fund.
So this will represents the end of the year balances, and the first one there is County General. And you'll notice that it went up a little over 2 million. That's good. So we probably have the opportunity to maybe take some of the balances or that balance and do some things with it, and we can talk about that as we go through here. And Garitos is also working on that, and next week he will have some specific recommendations. One thing would be we might want to move some to rainy day. We might want to move some to the health reserve, the self-insurance reserve, and maybe the sheriff's retirement program. And maybe there's some other ideas too that people have. The next one is 1112. That's the lit economic development, and it's good and healthy. Just as an aside there, if you recall, in the 2026 budget, we have about $3 million in there plus our normal dollars for Gary Poole, his road construction, to finish road construction in New Pal, and he wasn't getting the state to agree to the $3 million on an 80-20 basis, but he says now they may do that, and we'll know by the February meeting, so that might be 80-20 instead of $3 million total. 1114 is the lit for the library. 1122 Community Corrections Project Fund looks pretty healthy. Then the two CUME funds, 1135 Bridge Fund is healthy. 1136, the CUME Capital Fund is okay, although we drained it down a little bit, so it's not really a CUME fund. 1159 is the Health Fund, looks good. 1161 is that First Indiana fund, and if you recall, we are currently using some of that for one navigator in the jail. Don't know whether that'll continue or not, but we can talk about that. 1170 public safety is good. Rainy day didn't change. And then 1189 recorder perpetuation fund, and that's important to watch because we do pay for all of the people in the recorder's office with that fund. Anybody that has comments or questions? Page 2. Oh, I just saw the 1207, the unsafe building fund, that had come up during last year, and there is money in there. CASA looks, 1213 looks solvent. 1222 is the E911. This statewide, I think that's the fee fund, not the income tax fund. And you notice it's really being drained. Then the 1233 lit corrections, that's the capital part of it, is healthy. We're going to be using some of that for the addition. 1234 is the operating part of that lit fund, and you can see that's being drained. That's what Garitas was telling us. We were probably going to have to add some money there. And so, if you recall, we changed the income tax by 5 basis points for the library. 2 of those basis points went to the E911 to bolster it. And the 3 we really needed to change to, but we changed it to lit economic development. So we may, during the year, have to take money out of lit economic development to bolster this fund. And then the 1235 is the lit 911 fund, and that's where we've added 2 basis points, which, according to my calculation, ought to add about $750,000 a year to that. And you can see it's being drained down. 2501 is the drug fund, and it's drug court fund, and it's solvent. And on page 3, then 2509 is the behavioral court fund, and it's solvent. Then 4616, we get into the big TIF area. Then we get to the bonds, the 2021 bond, the 4623. There's still significant proceeds in there. I understand that's committed, though, to something. Then two more TIF areas. The 4624 is the west TIF area, which is the next big TIF area next to our largest one, and it's building up. And then 4629 is the 2022 E911 GEO bond. 4631 is the 2022 GEO bond. Pretty significant amount of money still in that, but I understand that's committed also. And then there's the, there are three small TIFs, 46, 34, 35, and 36. And then the last one is 4700, the self-insurance, the liability insurance. And that's another one we may want to shore up with some balance coming out of the
I think so too.
Yeah.
monies.
We should mention that. Jim, if you'll recall, the stop loss is like 910,000, I think. So if we had that short up to that, boy, we'd be covered.
So you may need another 500 in it, probably.
Talked yesterday, yeah. It might be good, especially as we go into renewal.
Okay. And I think Greg was going to make that recommendation next week, so we should be able to do that. Page 4, the 4908, the EDA payments, money's coming in there. And then the 5901, 5902, 5901 is the health claims, and then the health claims reserve. There, we have said that we will, at the end of the year, take any balance that we have in the claims fund and move it over to the reserve fund. So we may want to do that. I mean, I know it's a small amount of money, but still just to
A little bit at a
do what we
time.
said.
We'll
Yeah.
add up.
So do you want, if we want to do that, we could, I think, do that. You want to make a motion?
Are you talking about the 49,000 to
Yes.
the million?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, just move it
Is
to the
there,
reserve
I don't know
fund.
how things cash flow out of 5901.
I would probably just leave it, Jim. I would probably just leave that 49,000.
The money's gonna be spent pretty quick here.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
pay our claims out of that, for any insurance claims
Claims
that
that
come in.
That might have been a December claim that they'll have to pay in January, I'm assuming.
Well, there's money in there now, isn't there? You shifted money in.
9,000.
Pardon me?
49,000.
No, I mean
49,200.
into the health claims fund. Haven't you moved money in for 2026 from the 2026 budget? Oh, okay.
But we did take that 500,000 out, correct?
Right.
Because we needed it and put it in the other fund.
Because does
But-
the receipts of the health claims fund, do those hit, the deposits hit after paychecks, after each pay cycle?
No, they
No.
hit usually once a month, but here we started taking a majority out of county general at the beginning of the year. So we did one large sweep out of all of the accounts that we legally could. The rest of them, as far as grants, that type of things, had to do those monthly.
But there's a possibility of needing to pay a claim before there are more deposits to 5901.
You just really never know when they're gonna come in.
And then they would move, if it was over the 49.2, then they would just move from the reserve fund.
Where is it?
Well, I think, weren't we moving everything all at once into that fund from the commissioner's line item as well as all of the other departments? We're not doing that monthly. I mean, we're moving the whole.
Yeah, the grants, we
So
can't do
when are
that.
you going to do that?
After we roll the budget. We're still reviewing the budget, the 1782 notice.
You saw that,
Oh.
There
Okay,
is a discrepancy,
gotcha.
so we're still working on getting that sorted
Yeah,
up. And as
yeah.
soon as we
We're-
hear
we're
back from
really not
Greg, we'll send
approved
it
yet.
out to everybody.
Okay.
That should be done later.
Okay. So you may have to use the reserve fund.
For a minute.
I think
Okay.
we should immediately move $500,000 into the, to make that
Yeah.
$1 million. It's close to $1 million. I think
Put
it's
that
less
back.
than $500,000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that will be, I think, on the agenda
Next
at
week.
the council meeting to, yeah,
Super.
if everybody wants to do that. Yep. Okay. All righty.
Well, and just to note there, our target balances we created last year was to keep, oh, we do have $1 million, I'm sorry, I was gonna say, our target is $1.5 million. Is that still enough? What's our stop loss on that?
It all depends, I think, Scott, help me out here. It goes up to like 150,000, a stop loss per occurrence. Now, don't quote me on this,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just trying to go back in my thought process.
300,000.
I figure when we picked 1.5 million, we had a reason, but I didn't know if that amount has changed of what we should be keeping in there.
No,
Okay.
no, and then, if it goes above that, they go to a laser, so,
Okay.
but having it $1.5 million in there probably wouldn't hurt us at all.
Yeah, that's our target, so.
Yeah. So we'll do that. Page 5, 201's food and beverage, and it's stroking along. 7304, I found interesting tourism. Back when we started tourism, they were getting a couple of $100,000 a year, but they're approaching $1 million in receipts, so it's becoming significant. The rest of that page are grants. And on the last page, 6, there really wasn't anything I saw except the usual CARES Act, Health Department, which I still don't know what they can spend that for. And the ARPA, which is almost drained. It is drained, right?
It's all committed, I believe.
That's spoken.
Good.
Yeah, that would be the jail navigators are being paid out there now, and we
just
have
a
no
bid
more
for that.
ARPA money that, I mean, it's earmarked.
The auditor
So
paid for
once
that.
that's gone, that's another thing that you'll want to put on your radar.
How many jail navigators are coming out of that, too?
Yeah, I think we're talking about that today.
Too.
Yep.
Jim's on it.
Okay. Any
Jim's all over it.
comment, questions? Cash balances? Just generally speaking, everybody did a good job and they came out pretty good.
Enjoy it when SB1 comes. It'll be a different
I
scenario.
thought we were going to have a positive meeting.
No, I didn't. Enjoy it this year, because in years to come, it's not going to be that way.
Let's think positive that
Well-
there will be a SB 1.2 or 2.0, whichever it is that Greg calls it.
We did have breakfast with Governor Braun and kind of, really kind of laid out how it was going to affect at the county level. And he did say this was the year to tweak it, so.
So Kent,
That should be more than that. This is,
That's all that's in there right now.
Kent, I'm glad you didn't say anything about the balances. I was talking to Garitas, and when he saw those numbers, he said, I'm going to take a lot of shit from Kent.
Yeah, we talked last night, and he mentioned that.
Well,
Greg,
if
But
you
he
heard the
missed it in a
term
good
pennies
way.
from heaven, that came from about 10 years ago, me complaining that we had too many balances at the end of the year. And we were pinching things at the end of the year not to pay or not to do, or we were doing this and doing that. And then lo and behold, January 1 comes and, oh, we have $1 million extra. And so I was complaining to him that we've got to get tighter on that. We can't be cutting programs and then have all this money at the end of the year just from being too conservative.
Well, it may not be extra dollars, but it's above forecast.
Right, above forecast. We had the same problem at the school. We cut 8 people one year at the school, and it was a horrible deal for us and everything. And then after the first year, the state come up and give us $200 million extra money for all the schools in Indiana. And it was like, if you would have told us 2 months ago, we wouldn't have had to lay people off. And so I'm sensitive about, because now we do have some above forecast money, but, and I'm not for putting it in rainy day, because to me, rainy day's been the same ever since I've been here. I've been here a long time and we'll never use it. So I'm for putting it in
We
you know,
hope not.
liabilities
because-
and other things. You say we hope, but we went through a pandemic and didn't use it. So unless somebody drops a nuclear bomb on Indiana, we ain't never using rainy day.
Well,
won't use it
now,
then
now
either.
some of us are older than others.
Won't use it.
Right on any of that.
We
So
did
it was
have a
just-
time where
It
we
was
were living off
2008,
of rainy
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
In 2009, 2010, we were living off of rainy day.
But we built
Robin
it
had
up
a hard
there.
time
It's just
making
gonna sit there until we have another huge recession then.
Mortgage collapse. That was after the mortgage collapse.
Yes, it was awful.
When income taxes drop by 25%,
Yes.
then
SB1 may do it.
you start
May
choking.
dip into it.
Number 2, the minimum target balances. I was going to wait for Greg, but if anybody looked at that and has any comments, go ahead.
I know in the past, the target on the general fund was correlated to 90 days worth of operating expenses. So I'll wait for Greg, but
Okay.
we might, I don't know if we want to bump
about
that a
that
little.
then.
I don't know if 90 days was a number we picked, or if any more days, as the budget goes up, would be a more appropriate number. And I don't know, we can ask Greg, when we picked rainy day 7 million, I'm not sure where the 7 million came from. It's less than 90 days of operating, so we can ask him about all that.
Yeah, I
But
kind of forget.
Those,
yeah.
the general fund and rainy day in particular, we've had those targets for many years now, and so I'll be interested to see if Greg, inflation and our budget going up, if we should bump those up a little bit.
And you get into a discussion of what is the budget. The
It'd be a,
fund budget is 30 million. The total budget is 96 million.
Right,
So what number are you?
right.
And stuff like that.
yeah,
So
because
that's
Keely's
his-
right, that 8 million wouldn't last very long if we got into a financial issue.
It
We
wouldn't.
can go through that unfortunately pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Just payroll and things. Health.
Well, what is a payroll per pay period?
Just had our first one.
Usually
I'll get
about a
back to you
million.
on that.
After you account for FICA and everything, we talked about it when we
Like
did the
800 and
some
$27th
thousand dollars.
pay.
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's-
800 and some thousand dollars.
Yes, it was 900,000.
So that wouldn't get us through very many payrolls and
And then
the electric bill, that's for sure.
you got people being paid out of grants too that
Yeah, that's true.
don't show up on that,
Yeah.
that's above my pay grade anyway, to figure that out, so.
And then self-insurance, 4,700, we talked about that. We'll talk to Greg about it, but we were saying the stop loss is 910, so we should probably add 500 of that when Greg comes around. We'll talk to him about
And
that.
that'll look really good to our underwriters too when
I
we
think
go
the
back
target
into
should be,
That's what I,
negotiating.
right, I think the target should be, this resolution should be above. If 900,000
The
is our
cap.
stop loss, then
Nine-
above the
900.
cap, then it shouldn't say 500,000.
Yeah.
Last year we started.
Jim had a couple of
we just
other
started
ideas
it.
too, where maybe some monies could be that would be helpful.
you want to throw them out?
Well, we spoke of Sheriff's Pension Fund,
Oh, yeah.
shoring that up a little bit. We talked about that this morning, and that was, other than these two, I think were the three we spoke of.
We did that last year. We threw $1 million when as Kent mentioned, the balances were healthier than forecasted, and we put $1 million in to try to get the pension better funded. And I'd like to know if Greg recommends that again. I'd be very favorable to keep moving that pension towards full funding.
But the sheriff recommends it.
And that does decrease in future years, theoretically. You know, every year we have to make a deposit to the pension. We have that minimum amount, the recommended amount, and the above, above recommended amount. And in theory, the closer we get to 100% funded, that annual expense will go down. Right.
Yep. Next item is the 5-year capital improvement plan. That's the commissioners' work on that. I understand that for 26, the request is at least for $1 million for windows for the courthouse. So, and in addition to that, we've got the Ag Association request for $1.25 million.
In here.
We've got the sheriff's cars that we usually take out of it for about $800,000. And then the commitment we have on the radios, that's, I forget whether that's $800,000 or $400,000 a year, but it's significant.
Isn't it, Keely?
I thought it was the higher.
800.
I thought so.
That was close to 900,000 at one time.
So just thinking about all that, pretty obvious that we probably will want to have a 2026 GO bond. And if that is the case, probably the sooner we get after it, the better. So
What'd you
Commissioner,
say was the windows? Did you have a ballpark on the windows amount?
1 point something.
1 point something?
Yeah, it's 1.1, 1.2, I think is what it was. Because originally it was like 2 point something for both.
For
So the
tuck
windows
point
and the duck pointing.
okay. Is that an actual quote that you've gotten?
Actually,
on that?
the 2 point, what was it, 2.3 or 2.2?
I can't recall, yeah.
It was an actual quote, but then we couldn't do it all, so we actually went to the tuck pointing alone. We figured we'd tackle the windows next year. So, and that is about 1.1, 1.2, what it's gonna
Okay.
cost.
That really is a desperate
Actually,
need.
I'm kind of shocked it isn't more than that. We
If they want to
windows
give it to
put
us
in
for
our
that, we're gonna
home.
take it.
Yeah, Jim spent 900,000 just doing his house.
Is that all the windows?
Yes. So, but, I mean, we definitely need them. It's an old building.
Okay. Well, we'll get Greg going on whatever the paperwork is I think commissioners have to probably initiate that, so
Yeah.
the 26
I'd like
bond.
to ask the commissioner something too. I noticed I was going over the capital plan and capital improvement plan, and it said somewhere on here, yeah, I have it underlined, that you were decommissioning some buildings. What exactly is that? And
Well,
which ones?
It's not necessarily decommissioning.
Says-
It was just,
says it is.
it was a thought to see what we could do. And originally they were talking about the memorial building.
Yeah, I know there was a real problem
Yeah.
with selling that.
But, well, yeah, we can't sell it.
No.
We really don't own it, really.
Doesn't it have to go to?
It has to go back to
veterans?
Greenfield Banking.
Oh, is it Greenfield Banking?
Yeah,
Okay.
when it no longer becomes a memorial building, if we move the actual Veterans Affairs out of there, it's no longer a memorial building, it goes back to Greenfield Banking.
I know at one time it had to go to somebody that was doing things for veterans. But-
Yeah, that's the memorial building. That's
Yeah,
why Greenfield Banking gave it to the veterans to become the Veterans Services. That's way back.
Yeah, and when we did.
I remember that.
Just waiting for you to say that.
When we were
They all
doing
think I
building
remember it, but I
inspections.
don't.
Remember that.
We do have to spend some money on it because they've done inspections and it needs some help. It really does.
Yes.
Well, that GO bond is going to have to be a $6 million bond then, right? Because you're going to have some other things.
Oh, yeah, well, there'll be other things. I mean, we got a lot of buildings.
We can't abandon the memorial building unless we do something to rehouse the ghost that lives in the basement. Keep that in mind.
We just got some artifacts from down in that.
Yeah, we just gave some artifacts to the Historical Society yesterday that they found down there. And so it was really nice that they could actually kind of house that for us. And I mean, it was nice to see somebody still looking out for the Historical Society. But yeah, we've got money to spend, or we'll have to have money to spend on the memorial building, because just to paint it and stuff like that, we've had people offer to paint it. The kids play is the one, the people do the kids play. They wanted to paint it, but they can't. We've got to have a professional go in and do that. So there's some plumbing that needs to be done into it. So
So they're still using it?
yes,
The kids, okay.
and I think the park department, Greenfield, still have their father-daughter dance there. And they've got some other things that happen there.
Kent
Well,
Fisk
they
plays
have- they have-
basketball there.
Yeah, they have offices in there, though. for
Yeah, the veterans and
Casa
CASA and all them.
Yeah,
yes.
you'd have to relocate all those
Casa.
people.
Yeah, I played pickleball in there.
Yeah, there's,
Okay. Anything else on the capital plan and the bond? Next on the agenda is the prosecutor efficiency study. And I was thinking one of the commissioners asked for that to be on here, although I couldn't remember who. So,
Probably Bill.
pardon me?
Bill
Probably
was-
Bill.
It was
It was
not.
probably Bill.
Oh, it was probably Brent.
You're not Bill, you're Brent.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Help you.
How's it going?
Well,
I
if we
guess
could get some electricity in the child support division, that'd be real dandy. That'd help us out a lot. We're trying to get there, but otherwise, things are rolling along.
But on the study, have you been engaged with?
He has to have money for it first.
I believe,
We
You go ahead.
approved.
I don't know that it was.
I don't
Yeah.
know that it was
No.
approved.
I don't think it was.
we
didn't
didn't
approve money.
approve any money.
We didn't appropriate it. We approved, I think, in principle, and asked him to come to the commissioners for their input.
And he did.
He did.
So you're approving it and sending it back to us for,
Send it to you with a favorable
Appropriation.
recommendation.
And we've
Okay.
been working, we've got, Brent sent me information for an RFQ, put that in place, but we were waiting for formal approval. But Brent has already provided me with it.
I think when we discussed that here the first time, Deb and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we asked, what do we expect ballpark this to cost? I don't know exactly word for word what was said, but I thought we discussed an up to
Not to exceed, we'd have to look back at the
60,000.
minutes. Offhand, I don't remember.
60.
Yes,
60, I think.
Tell me just briefly what this money is
60.
going.
That's what I remember.
yes, I'm trying to make sure I keep track of all the questions at the same time. The answer to your question is that I was seeking financing for an efficiency study of the prosecutor's office and the justice system. We always want to make sure we're as efficient as we can be. I know that we're growing rapidly, and it's important that we get as much utility out of everything that we possibly have as we can. And that, it's something that is of great interest to a lot of people in the community. And so that's what this was. That's why I brought it to you. And if there's ever ways we can find to make things, better or more effective, we always want to do that.
And justice system, so besides your office, are there other offices?
Well, it's going to depend upon what is agreed to, whoever the vendor would be. But by virtue of, everything runs through our office. And so we get all the reports from all the law enforcement. We also work with probation. We also work with the courts, community corrections, et cetera. And so anything that really kind of does a deep dive of what we do is necessarily going to open windows everywhere else. We're the hub where everything interacts. And so if you see everything that's happening with us, you're going to see everything that's happening everywhere else at the same time.
So did you give us an estimate of what this would cost last time? I was thinking you did.
I think that we talked about roughly 60.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
That's what I recall. My memory in a 5 days or so. I want to have somebody come in and really work to see where possibly find ways to. And then ultimately, there's been a lot of talk, and I know at the state level, and here, staffing is something that's important, and maybe we can find other ways to be more efficient. It's always about trying to find ways to do things better and faster and more efficiently.
Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but I think it's a waste of money. I won't be blunt, I'll be blunt about it. If it was truly something we need, then we should have the 2 judges or 3 judges up here saying we need to vamp the whole system. I've been here long enough to know when I see smoke green, when I see it. I'm not excited about giving more money to find out if the prosecutor's office is doing their job. I would hope, Brent, that you could be able to do that, see if the prosecutor's office is doing their job, and the judges see if they're doing their job. But, I'm only one vote on the thing, but I just think it's a.
Well, Brent would
throwing
be,
good
even
money
if Brent
after.
thought there was an inefficiency in one of those integrated offices that's not his, he would be out of turn to suggest that another elected official improve their efficiency.
I would think there would be communication between those 2 offices, though. It wouldn't be that he would be telling them what to do. It would be a conversation about improvement.
It'll overlap into the other, I think, into the other departments. And we are an efficiency committee, and how do we implement efficiency if we don't do some studying?
I guess I want to know
One-
more about who is doing it, what's their background and where.
We haven't hired anybody yet.
When,
You got a number from somewhere.
Mary, whenever we did the fire study with Greenfield, we picked somebody that was not associated with the fire department, somebody that actually had a former fire chief that actually did these studies. And that is the best way to do it. Find somebody that's not attached to the office, you get a better study.
Well, I would say yes to that, but also I just recall when I was still upstairs, there was a decision made to do a study of all of our county offices. And it was a waste of time and a waste of money. Robin was probably here when it went on as well.
And that's very true.
And nothing at all came from it because what works in government is real different than works in corporate world or business world because of the way we have to follow things. And we got nothing back from that study at all. It was just money spent and money gone. I'll just say that about who was hired to do it at that time. That's why I'd be very interested in specific, or I would want to say, yes, I would want to know what your expectations are in writing to see that they be closer to
Scott, we can get that through an RFP, can't we? What I thought you'd,
Provide me information, the RFP,
or the RFQ.
yeah, it's really an RFQ, would be specific enough that those questions should be.
RFQ, not an
Yes.
I
RFP.
mean, you
It's
can
request
look
for
at what comes
qualifications.
back from the RFQ and
For what
decide what you're.
the commissioner said is, I think the study that they did with us, the problem was that people had no idea how our offices work.
Right.
So
No, that's-
I
I
think it's
understand.
important, like he said, is to have somebody separate, but make sure it's somebody that knows what they're doing, that
Yes.
comes with really
If they
good
don't know what they're doing, it's not
recommendations.
worth the money.
Yeah, and that's what
I
we
guess the
found
thing
out.
I would say is this, is that everyone here knows that our county is growing very rapidly. We're the first or second fastest growing county in the state of Indiana. Our population has increased significantly. Everyone knows that all of our law enforcement agencies, the rosters of those agencies have increased significantly in the last 10 years. Everyone here knows that over the last 2 or 3 years, based upon the recommendations from the Prosecuting Attorney's Council, I've made repeated requests for staffing to meet the levels that the Prosecuting Attorney's Council has said is appropriate for our office. There have been some efforts there, but we're not where they say we should be. And so this is a contentious subject. It's one that is going to be very important for the future of this county as we grow. Public safety and our ability to have a community that is a good place to live, work, and raise a family is the first priority for everybody, and that begins with public safety. And public safety begins at the prosecutor's office. And so, it seemed to me that, having run the football up the hill a few times, it would be a good idea to maybe to have an independent body look at things. It's not the prosecuting attorney's council, and they can make, they can do a deep dive, they can make those recommendations. I will be as transparent as I can possibly be, as I always am. And then we'll see, what can be done so that we are prepared for, the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Hey,
That
Brent.
always concerns me with public safety is by the time you realize that you need more people, it's often too late.
Brent,
And then you begin to have a deterioration of public safety.
who is the organization that's saying that you're short and all that?
Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council. Over a number of years, I know Scott's kind of shaking his head. As I said,
Is that like a union or something or what?
we don't have unions. It's
Okay,
An
because, I mean,
association.
I just remember when, before that, they advertised across the state that Greenfield was 14 firemen short, and come to find out after we did our study, we were only 2 firemen short.
Well, I don't know anything about the fire.
Okay,
That's
but
not
at the same time, I'd like to know that
What I
it's
do
a
know
reputable.
is, what I do know is that the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council, which is a professional organization representing all prosecutors across the state of Indiana, commissioned a study, I don't know, 3 years ago. And during the course of that, they looked at every single county in the state of Indiana. And, I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago, I provided a summary of those things, to people on the council and people on the commissioners. And we've made some progress in support of those things. Now, but we're not where they say we should be. The Prosecuting Attorneys Council has made efforts at the state level and appealed to, to the governor, to the legislature for funding. It's one of our big issues. It was 2 sessions ago. It was last session. It's again this session. And so this is, a very real kind of, it's a real crisis across the state. I mean, a lot of people in a lot of offices are even in worse shape than what we are in their ability to attract and retain the type of high caliber talent in the numbers needed to maintain the line so our communities can be good places to live. And so, no, it's not a union.
Okay.
It's just the organization, much like the judges have their organization.
Brent, will this study address mainly your staffing, or will it also address ways to actually run your office, change things, and that kind of thing? Will they do that also?
That would be my expectation.
That would be mine, too.
That would be my expectation. I mean, I'd want to have someone, the ideal person to do this kind of work would be somebody that's familiar with prosecutors' offices, here and around the country, and see other practices and other ways things work. There's not a monopoly on good ideas here in Hancock County. And so if there's, ideas elsewhere that have proven to be very effective, that, our situation and our level of growth in our office would be appropriate, well, that'd be wonderful. I'd love to know more about it.
Brent, are you aware of what firms across the country provide that kind of service? Because when we do the RFQ, I'm just wondering what we might be.
There's a number of, okay, you go to conferences, you see people doing this.
For me, I'm on the fence. I don't think, and this is why I wanted it to go to commissioners too, is I wanted to hear their input, because to me, I don't think most of us up here think that we need to spend $60,000 of the people's money to find out what we already know, which is, yes, there needs to be more staffing at prosecutor's office, like there needs to be more staffing at so many of our departments in county government. And so that's not the intent. I think the intent I would like to see, if I would vote in favor of it, is how can you be more efficient? Are you doing the job efficiently as a prosecutor? Is your chief doing the job efficiently? Is all your prosecutors and everybody doing their job efficiently? I mean, I hear that, the fire department from Gary, how it went from 11 needed to 2, and maybe we'll find out you actually need less people. I don't know, but.
I don't know either.
But I mean, I know you need more people. That's not something any of us are going to disagree with. Everybody could use more people. Especially if you're busy and things keep, increasing. But I also want to know, like, if we're going to do efficiency, I would want to hear also about all the other, the judiciary and other areas. If we're going to look at the prosecutor's office, why not look at, what about the public defender's office? What about the judiciary? I know they're going to switch things when the judges probably switch next year, but I mean, those are the things that I would want included also.
Well, when we talked about this before, we said we did want it to go beyond the prosecutor's office because it is all intertwined. So
Yeah,
But
don't you
but
think
you've
it's-
got to start
Well,
someplace
don't you
to
think
do
it's,
that.
it's not, in my opinion, it's not right taking a efficiency study and then calling up the judge and say, hey, we're gonna force this upon you now. You know what I mean? I mean, you weren't involved in initial talks, but we want this to creep into your stuff too, without their opinion.
That's the thing. I don't think you can do anything with the judges. They've got their own
Right, and that's
organization.
what-
You can't
if they're
instruct
not
them to do
involved.
anything.
Yeah.
They should be involved with preparing
Yes.
the information that
can't-
we're expecting back.
You can't do a study, I don't think, of the whole system. We tried that about 15 years ago. We met like monthly with all the system inputs for that whole year. And we did find out a lot of stuff that we didn't know. And the only way to find out what you don't know is to study it. Somebody wants to lead that study, great, but I don't want to again.
Well, I think,
And you got to start someplace and take it in blocks.
I think that's what the purpose, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but of an RFQ process, you put in your Nissan model, your Cadillac, and your limousine model, you get the RFQs back, and then if one's 50, one's 55, and one's 60, maybe you go with the 60. If one's 60, one's 100, and one's 200, then maybe you go with the 60. So I mean, I'm kind of the new guy here, but it seems like a lot of the questions could be answered if we go through the RFQ process. And that's where I think I would lean on Brent to say, hey, based on the people the companies who submitted through the RFQ process, his expertise would say, here's who I recommend to you all to go with. Then that doesn't mean we have to, but I would lean on that expertise and then we go from there. But that's just my 2 cents.
I mean, really, the goal here would be not just like necessarily, like, I'm not thinking about just today, okay? Is that our county's gonna have 100,000 people here before too long. We're gonna have 125,000 people very possibly during my working life. And I think it would be really it would be a really good idea for us to get a roadmap on these things now while we're at the waves kind of coming in, and instead of trying to do it later when we're drowning.
Will you provide you scope of what we're looking for? Because again, like Kent said, that we know that there's a shortage. So without that being part of what we're looking for primarily, what other problems or corrections or suggestions could be made through the overall workflow of that office?
Well, I guess to answer your question as directly as I can, I would be hopeful that anybody doing, a study would communicate with all of the people we're working with to see how we interact. And so, I would assume the judges will talk to them, but I suppose they have to. I mean, I'm not in a position, I would assume that they would, and I would assume everybody would approach it in good faith, and then when we're done, maybe all of us will have a better picture, for a rough roadmap of where we need to go in the next 10.
Are they aware that you've been having these discussions about?
I've not had any specific conversations with the judges about something that would come up in regular business.
So I think the commissioners are asking us if we want to fund this recommendation or not.
I just have
So-
a comment, if I
Yeah.
could, Jim, directed to Brent. Brent, we're working on a kind of a strategic plan for a criminal justice center. Do you think it would be, I'm taking 2 steps back, do you think it would be worth waiting until those plans were laid to see what might be needed between the prosecutor, the sheriff's office, and everything?
I want to make sure I understand your question.
We are in the midst of working out a plan, a strategic plan on a criminal justice center, which would include you, the judge, the court, the criminal courts, sheriff's office, all except civil, yeah. And then would it be worth us to take a step back and wait until that strategic plan was kind of put into place to see if that would be best served for all parties involved. It's just a question, just a
Honestly, I don't
thought.
really think so. I think you need to have more, the more information you have, better plan you have.
Okay.
I'm always a big proponent, you know, whenever we're gonna have something we gotta do or have a case we're gonna have or file or not file, getting as much information as we can possibly get before I would say that would be the case.
You know,
So
we don't
let's-
have enough information.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I
We
mean,
need to see those
even
RFPs.
even if the council says, yes, this is something we want to go after, you can't vote on something you don't know what the dollar amount is. You can't vote on something you know what the scope of the project is. You can't vote on something to know what if it's going to achieve what you think it's going to achieve or not.
Well, speak to the commissioners, they're the ones that are asking.
No, I mean, it's just, we just don't know if it's 60 or 160. And we don't know what, if the scope is, you know, Scott said it would be nice if it included this. Robin said it'd be nice if it included this. Mary said it'd be nice if it included this, but we don't know if it includes that or not, or even if you can find somebody to do that.
But you're not going to know that until Scott runs an RFQ.
Well,
RFQ.
I'm
I
RFQ, well,
appreciate
so-
what Janine said about maybe a little ahead of it. I did not know that you guys are working on this plan, justice system plan, and it may be best to wait a little bit
Well,
to see what
The,
comes from
the,
that.
the
It is in its
system is not
infancy.
going to, the
That's for
system's not
sure.
going to change.
We
The system
just
won't
put out an
change.
RFQ for that,
For landscaping
for landscape.
and
plan.
landscape of the farm. It's just not plants of the farm.
And so we'll be waiting, I don't recall the close of business for that, but Deb, we do put it out on, I think, on Bid Prime.
But I don't think that would change the operation of the justice system. We're going to change the buildings, but we're talking here about the system itself.
But it
I don't think it
could,
would change.
realistically, in the logistics, and I'm not saying I'm right, but logistically, it could eliminate a lot of things, just having everyone together in a criminal justice center. And it could mean new software. I don't know what the courts and the prosecutors do. I don't even pretend to know. But, you know, will there be upgrades in all of their processes? I don't know. That's questions I'm asking. I think that back when Brent presented this to us, I think we had information in front of us that maybe you do not have. Didn't we have like a 3-page?
I truly don't recall.
It was, I thought we had some information, and that's why we thought it may be a good idea. So it may be appropriate, just email the council that information and that you had sent to us. I'm pretty confident it was like a 3-pager.
Well,
I'll have to
the other
check my
thing that
emails
could
and
be
see.
done is,
I'm sure it was, Brent.
we could, as Brent and I, we could draft an RFQ, and then you guys could review the RFQ. Make sure you think it covers what you want to see
Yeah, well, I think
before we advertise it. That's,
No,
now, we
before-
don't typically do that, but if that's what you want, I don't think, Brent, I don't want to speak for
I
you.
think that's a great idea. I mean, at the end of the day, here's the bottom
do
line,
too.
is that the justice system looks way different now than it did 10 years ago. And it's gonna look it's gonna look, you know, substantially different 10 years from now than it does now. You know, we're able to keep our head above water now. I think it would be, you know, a very good thing if we spent the time to diligently look at those things so that we can plan for the upcoming decade and more.
Well, I think our attorney's right. I think it would help all of us to make a decision if we got to see the RFP before you sent them out. Don't you?
Are the commissioners willing to proceed that far?
Yes.
Let's
Okay,
do that. Let's do that.
We'll
Okay.
finalize what we do, because I have info, and then you can distribute it, Brent, to council and the commissioners.
Well, all right, I will
Absolutely.
wait to hear back from you that we have something that is agreeable as official. Upon doing so, I can email it out.
What I'm going, yeah, what I'll do is, I'm going to be looking at the format primarily. The substance of it will be coming from you. Now you've kind of heard a few things here to maybe incorporate in your, what you'd like to see in the RFP. Yeah,
From what I sent you back in December, today,
Yeah.
I'm okay with sending that to everybody, and if they want to change whatever,
oh, okay,
I'm in, and so I don't see it.
okay.
I
Okay,
mean, and again, if there's changes they want to make, probably okay.
so will you work that out?
Yes,
Okay,
I have my,
okay, okay. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year, everybody.
You too.
Same to you. He's moving.
Bernie?
Place to pay it from? The RFQ. Well, it'll be his.
Note of this.
Good morning.
Why am I here?
You want money, probably.
You want more money?
Yeah,
You either want money or you either want money or an employee. I mean, one of the two.
I think it's money today.
Yes,
Scott, we're getting
I have a new
messages,
employee.
we're getting messages that we have really bad interference, so if we can move our
Cell
cell
phone
phones
is causing
away.
interference.
My phone's over here.
Airplane mode, that'd be great. Might just be a good idea to put in airplane mode when you come in, so.
Move your phones away from the microphone.
But at any rate, we had a requirement to hire a new person for dealing with these meetings. We have a media technologist, Dusty Wicker's our new employee. He's making sure that all the recordings get done correctly, and then we're streaming it's done correctly and that type of things. And he'll be working with the courts too on their media stuff too. So we agreed at the end of the year to hire him, and we'd find a way to pay for it starting at the beginning of the year. So that's why I'm here. So I need money.
How much money?
Perfectly clear.
50?
60,000.
60.
So it wasn't in your 26 budget
Was
in
not.
25.
Right.
We since did approve it.
But we approved it, though.
We approved at the end of the year of him hiring somebody to take care of the,
But probably not where the money comes from.
but we didn't know where we told him out the first year to come back
Yeah.
to us and we'd find out where the money came from.
That's exactly right. You said that you'd fill the position in 2026, and you would let him know where you're going to decide to pay it from.
And
Do you still have another
I
position
do,
open?
yes. And it'll be filled by the end of this quarter, so I'll be fully staffed.
Oh, this is
Ironically,
the
it's the
media
same amount
guy.
as the-
This is the media guy.
we just discussed.
Oh,
Media guy.
Okay. So auditor, what do we need to do?
Well,
You need to
ironically, it's
Go
the
ahead
same
and
amount of-
appropriate money for it. And we'll have to do a salary, salary
Well,
ordinance amendment.
General fund balance is-
Right, he's not.
Like I say, my feeling is, since
Do we need to vote today?
it's going to stay.
Yes.
If you could, because he's on the clock.
Payroll.
I would suggest that we pay for it out of county general. This is gonna need to be in the county general
Right.
budget,
Right.
and I think we should
Right.
just pay it there.
Right.
Second.
Right.
There we go.
On that
There was a
motion.
motion, formalized.
I second her motion.
Thank you, thank you.
Moved and seconded that we approve whatever that money was for Bernie's media guy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Congratulations, you're going to get a
That was easy.
No, you're only on for
Just I'm
one.
here, I'm, anything right now, I've let the commissioners know, there's been a 177% increase in memory. What that translates to is all computer products are gonna go probably 3 times as much. So I'm probably gonna run short this year. I'm not sure how much it's gonna be yet, because I haven't started buying yet, so. But there will be an increase in all hardware, so.
You got a ballpark?
What's that?
You got a ballpark?
No, I don't. Now, at this point, I'm probably going to be probably 25 to 30% short of what I really need, so, but I'm not sure. I haven't even started purchasing yet.
Of what number?
I think my purchasing this year is 120,000 for hardware, so it's going to be significantly more than that, so.
Okay.
And is that recurring annual?
It's as we need it. It changes yearly how much we need to purchase, so.
Is there? This
Never
is a
goes down.
novice question, though. Is there any, was Windows 10 is dying?
Yeah.
Windows 10 is dead, basically.
Is dead? I mean,
We're pretty much.
We're going to have to maybe do another geo bond this year. Is there any equipment that has to be upgraded that we would get done now?
Not this year, but next year, we're gonna have to change out our servers. Next year, our servers and our main storage is gonna have to be upgraded in 2027.
2027, well, I mean, that.
Well, which
maybe-
might mean you want to put it in a
I
26
was gonna
bond. 'Cause
say,
if-
if we know we have to do it.
Exactly.
That might
to
be
have
another
a number.
thing that we
Well,
have to put in.
I've got a quote for the storage, but it's old now, so it's
Right,
6
but
months old.
what's the servers?
Servers are a lot cheaper than storage, so.
Okay.
Probably just, I think, when I updated these, I think we spent 95,000. It's probably go up to 120,000 probably for that.
All right, well, I was worried
Well,
about us having
yeah.
$500,000 or $1 million.
Not for servers, but now for the storage, it may be 250 to 300,000.
Well, Bernie, get us some numbers,
I will.
please.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Do you have any
Sooner
idea what
than
the
later.
servers may cost, just a ballpark? And you may have just
Ballpark,
said that.
No, don't, this is really a rough ballpark, probably about 120,000.
Oh,
For
okay.
servers. It's not gonna be, like I said, the servers are pretty easy to deal, except the memory part of it. Now, I've got to see what that's gonna cost because of the increase. Now I have to get that. So the actual servers themselves is pretty reasonable, but the memory part is gonna go
Yeah,
way
you're
up.
still
so-
talking about $400,000.
Probably. Yeah. But I'll get some real figures and get it back to you.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you.
Under old business, we did get our 1782 notice, and we have to respond by next Wednesday.
We'll need to make sure that we fully understand it and accept it, and we'll have to get the president's signature on the 14th, so we can get that in the time.
Well, I looked at it, there are two items of significance on there for once. A lot of times, we don't have much difference with the DLGF, but we have two significant differences, and I think they're both having to do with the transportation department, I think, if I recall.
Well, the 250 from the highway was decreased. They decreased his budget, and then they changed the rate, is what I had looked at. So I was, I have a message to Greg
Yeah.
for us to go over that as well, but, so we're still working on it. Usually it comes back and all's good, and we get what we've asked for, and we sign it and move on. So there'll probably be some discussion that you'll want to have before we send that back to DLGF.
Did we not get the excess levy? I had not heard about it. I saw where Vernon Township got theirs.
That's one of the questions that I have, because it's got a 0 there, but then they did change one of the levy rates. So did you see that, Jim?
One of them is a bond, and the other one is just the highway budget.
Well, it was on I don't know what it was. I have it, because I did see that there was a rate that changed, but it wasn't a bond. There's a number.
Yep.
That's the question I have for Greg, that I'm
Yep.
waiting to hear back on.
Well, the highway is off about 4 million, and the bond is off about 600,000.
Well, Mary No asked about the max levy appeal. Do you know anything about the appeal?
Not for sure. Greg's attitude was that since we've got the 1782, they have to have decided on our excess levy appeal, but he had not gotten any notice of it. We haven't gotten any notice of it. He said they are just so far behind at the state level that he's not surprised, but he thinks, his guess is that we got at least some of the appeal.
And
Not
that
all
might
of
be
it.
the rate that I saw increase on that levy. So I just have a question, so I'm really not in a position to comment on it right now. But we're talking to him, and we're going to be sending it out to everybody.
So we're gonna decide on this next Wednesday and something.
Yeah, and then
That's
Greg will
what's due.
probably have discussion, or he'll probably talk to you or email you in between now and then, would be my
So
guess.
Deb, I have a question for you. When I was auditor, we never got excess levy, so I don't know that much about it. But do they typically send it with the 1782? I thought they did.
I think last year we got it before we got the 1782, that notification that we were going to be receiving it.
Okay.
But, and that would have been my first time as well, so I don't have it committed to memory.
You
But
mean the
I
excess
think they
levy,
gave it to
Robin? You're talking about the excess
Yes.
levy? Well, Greg said they have to have decided that before they sent the 1782. But their notice of it
Yeah, when do they
is
know?
maybe in the mail. Or maybe it's sitting on somebody's desk and they haven't sent it out yet, or something like that, right?
Right, right.
Okay. So let's go on to the health investments. Is Amanda here? I haven't seen Amanda. Or anyone from,
You could do your sheriff, you could do the sheriff
Yeah.
and see if she comes.
yeah. Sheriff, do you want to get into your part of it then first? What we're trying to do here is to, as you know, 3 years ago, we started a mental health initiative where we we'd come up with a strategic plan for mental health. Then suddenly we got into COVID. Suddenly we had ARP money, and we appropriated $6 million from the $15 million of ARP money for mental health initiative. And we broke that up, as it turned out, to be some of it went for navigation and clinicians in the jail. Some of it went for navigation outside of the jail run by the hospital. And the third part of that was a mobile mental health team that was run, first of all, by Community Health, and now it's run by Hancock Regional. Those three things. So what to do here is identify how much currently, identify the programs, first of all, that we currently are running, and then try and put a number on those aspects of it for a potential 2027 budget item to continue. You know, if we want to continue these programs, here will be the number. So that's what we're trying to do here.
So those numbers would be in his.
Should be, and or if he wants to change something, maybe. Mm-hmm. And Amanda's supposed to be here from the hospital to do the same thing on their part.
Have a little bit of technical difficulty
Just a second, guys.
while we have that.
Approved his pay.
Oh,
And we just approved your pay.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Programs, but I don't see how we can maintain it.
This is when you ask for a raise.
In the corner.
Is it expanded?
we only get the
Yeah.
product
Is
if
it-
you get the pay.
If you minimize
After
it?
10 years.
It's like, it's not even showing the whole screen.
Right. I
in a
think it
corner.
needs to be minimized, doesn't it?
After 10 years.
Listen to
After
me, I
10
think
years.
I'm a tech savvy girl.
Stop trying to take his check.
That's it.
Oh, my word.
If I knew we were on YouTube.
When all else fails,
If
log
you got as
out and
many
log
years
back
as I got,
in.
Your commissioner, they do.
Of retrying.
Uniform, just like the State House does.
I just.
Oh, so you're in session. So yes. Yeah, you just dressed the way you do for work. Yeah. I mean, that's why I dressed on the court now in a suit, so. He's gotta be in a suit for work, so.
Oh, okay.
So he can, but once work's done.
Brad, works.
We've got a chalk. I wear a chalk.
You gotta dress for the job.
Yeah, my employees won't respect.
Yeah. They'd be like, you make me.
Yes.
Why is my trash bill this high?
Yeah, you don't want your trash man walking around us.
Our body. $4,000 suit.
Does anyone want to take a break while they're getting this?
Stretch our legs. Can we
Take a 5-minute break?
Perfect. All right.
Okay, 5-minute break.
Okay.
Judge has to spit.
Failure, then I'm under.
Brad?
Test, test, one.
We can do the work. We can do the work.
Test, test, 1, 2, test, 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 test.
We
Test.
really want to use technologies.
We can hear you, Brad.
Yeah, and we had that one email they sent us.
Well, if he's got the microphone down there, he should.
Go right on Mary or keep roll?
You're live, I
Just
think.
go ahead, you're live.
You're live, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I don't see her.
So I'm here today, Jim kind of he gave a little intro about the presentation, I guess. I wanted to start off kind of how we got to where we're at and why we do what we do inside the jail with programming. And so I wanted to show a 2-minute trailer that the sheriff's office, the jail was involved in. It's called The Addict's Wake, but it's a trailer to a documentary that we are part of that kind of explains why we do programming inside a jail facility. So hopefully we'll be able to hear the sound. You hear it?
Yeah, this fentanyl epidemic, we weren't prepared for it as law enforcement in the country or as a society. It's monumental in the way that it's affecting America. Drug addiction has come home to everybody.
Those people, God bless them, they didn't give up on me, those first responders.
We've just kind of arrested people, you put them in jail, and then you have this expectation, well, they've been in jail, so then they're gonna get out and they're gonna do the right thing. It never happens.
The cycle we're trying to break. You can't arrest the addiction out of somebody. I was looking for change, an ability to do something different.
I thought I would be a drug addict all my life. I've been incarcerated here several times, and now I'm working inside the jail.
Everyone is capable of redemption. Probation officers, for parole officers, for correctional officers. You believing in somebody, you could be the one person in the justice system that's told them that they can do it.
I need to get help. Like, my stand is, are you going to live? Law enforcement is critical. There has to be accountability. That is the first step in their freedom to becoming sober. This is intense. It really gets deep.
We're looking for an answer. To see somebody walk in with that answer is huge.
This is just a different way of helping people. It's the way of the future.
I just kind of want to preface how we got to where we're at. So this is a 38-minute documentary. It was designed for public safety, law enforcement, to teach them what can be done inside a correctional facility. I've spent a couple places. I went to a national conference in Fort Lauderdale and did a promotion on it. And, so at some point I'd kind of like to show it here, like the public. I did one in Brown County this fall as well. So, but it brings to light what's taking place in corrections and how we can make a difference. So, so with that, I want to kind of give you some numbers and why. Sorry. Okay. So just to start off with, 65% of inmates in the United States have a substance use diagnosis. That's pretty extensive. That's pretty high. And 20% of those are under the influence of drugs and alcohol at the time of their criminal offense. So in order to combat what we see, that's why we started the jail navigation program. That's why we invested so heavily in the program and provide the treatment and growth towards rehabilitation to individuals, incarceration, connect them to those needed resources. That's what they do. And I'll buzz through these so I don't take a lot of time. But the importance of the jail navigation piece, having that system in place. And so we started in July of 2022. And the idea and the process of that is when inmates come in, the jail navigation meets with them They'll do an intake, and then they basically assess and see what their needs are and what type of programs that they actually can put them in, or what their needs are when they come into the facility. And so, and leaving. And, you know, we work obviously with many partners, and I'll have a list of those here lately, or later. But, you know, the investment that we initiated with the hospital and the Connection Center, they're part of the Justice Navigation Program, which is part of this whole deal. You can see just with some of these right here, this is some of the programs that we actually have and what the navigation team facilitate. Our flagship, I say program, is our moral recognition therapy program. We work, we're getting a lot of referrals to this program from the judges and probation and stuff like that. They want people to go through this program because it's a very successful program. On top of that, we have, you know, we're utilizing the tablets, and I have numbers for those. We do the GED and high-set testing. We got parenting inside and out, health education. So you just see, we just have a multitude of different types of programs that we're actually facilitating inside that facility.
Brad, could I ask you, does a person have to be an inmate to be part of that? You said the judges refer people.
Yeah, they're an inmate. They have to be part of that program.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Community Corrections also runs an MRT program through Community Corrections too. They come into our facility, but they also run one on the outside. So if they're sentenced to just home detention, then they might push them through that program that way. So these are some recent numbers I just wanted to show of our graduates. So this year, 2025, we've had 135 individuals go through it. We've had 108 graduates. Out of those 108 graduates, we've only had 15 of them return.
Pretty good number.
Thank you.
Got your own little cheerleaders back there, Sheriff.
If you look at the highlighted section, those are our kind of numbers from when we started in 2022. So 265 graduates with 35 that have returned. And so we run right around a 13 to 14% recidivism rate or return back to jail rate, which is really unheard of.
And that includes jails throughout the country or state?
So this is our jail.
Okay.
You know, we have looked at data of, so we've taken our graduates and we looked at if they've ever returned back to the state somewhere. Because it's really hard to, once they get out, to try to collect that information. But they went through my case and, say, hey, if they've been hooked up somewhere else, something like that. And so it's, it's above that a little bit, but we're still in the 20% range of recidivism or return back to jail. And generally speaking, you don't get a lot of studies or a lot of stuff on recidivism when dealing with jails. It's mostly with prisons, and they look usually like a 3-year return rate, coming back to a facility. This is based off of, just the numbers that we're dealing with and in the year that we're actually dealing with. So, we could have different numbers in a 3-year span, like most statistical numbers come up with, but this is just kind of where we're at on a yearly or annual basis.
Brad, could I interject something? Sure. I like to look at numbers and trying to use some kind of a metric to measure this, and I know you can't look at the total number of people in jail and say, it has something 100% to do with the recovery program, but back before COVID, we were running jail population of 350, 375.
Well, that was 360 here locally. We had 260 in our current facility, had 70 others in 4 other counties.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Yep. And you were kind of using community corrections to work release as jail too, but there were a lot of people, over 350 in the number. The number, I just looked at your jail population, like yesterday, it's 200.
This morning is 207.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the lowest it's been. 207 is the lowest it's been since we moved into that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the population since then has gone way up. The number of uniformed police we have in this county has gone up.
Well, it's a
Pretty fantastic.
product of, I know we took a beating, but we're building a new jail. Okay, I was one of them that took a beating for that. And for everybody that was negative on that in the community, voted against it and all that kind of stuff, this is a product of why we needed a new jail. I don't even think you were sheriff at the time when we all went down to Dearborn County and we saw what they were capable.
I was chief deputy.
They were capable of doing when you could isolate people that wanted help from people that didn't want help.
That's true.
And we had people in other facilities, we had people here, we had no way to put 40 or 50 people that wanted help and keep the 4 or 5 that didn't out. And you couldn't do the navigation programs, you couldn't do all of this. And this is a benefit of why the purpose of the jail is not to house more people, it's to keep people from coming back, like a program like this. We had a 92% recidivism rate, whatever you say it. But now it shows once you once you have the space to treat people and in groups and the ability to do that stuff, it really is a great benefit, and it is a positive on why we have a new jail and what's happening with our community.
I'm really proud of the program, and I'm proud of Hancock County being one of the first to really throw into this navigation system. I think your number speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I mean, I am proud as well of what they've done. I mean, the navigation team, my jail staff, I mean, everybody, they've done a tremendous job of facilitating and making this happen. We've been to several places. I visited Madison County here recently and talked with their judges about what we've done. So they're basically building a facility to duplicate what we've done and try to get things like we've done. And I told them, I said, listen, this doesn't happen overnight. Don't expect immediate change. A long time to get to where we're at.
We've 10 years to get to where we're at today.
And so don't expect it at the beginning, but it's going to take time to get to where we are. And so we've talked to Madison County, I've talked to Adams County, I've talked to another county up north. People are recognizing, that, there's a difference being made here, and they're wanting to know how we're doing it.
Jim and I started up when we were visiting other jails before we built this one. What you are able to do without abilities that the others had. So to step up to that level,
Yeah, you can do lots of things when you're not overcrowded. Yeah. You got the space to be able to do it, and there again, have the therapeutic communities, have the pods specifically, dedicated to the programming, which we do. We have multiple male, female. So I mean, it really has been a blessing to see what's happened, and it's really super exceeded my expectation farther than what I thought we would be at this point in time. So,
Brad, I have 2 questions, one on the slide and one about space. The last time I was in the jail with you, the recovery pod itself was fairly new in terms of putting those people all together. How is that going? Does it make a substantial difference? Do you see us adding more than one recovery pod in there?
yeah, so, I mean, obviously I won't be around, growth inside that facility. There is space inside that facility for some future growth. We built that in there for that. Currently we do have three different pods for males. We have a pod that does the programming. We have a pod in the middle that kind of transition pod. So you got guys that graduate that go into that one, and we have new ones that are actually coming in that want to be part of the program. So they kind of mentor them prior to going in to kind of give them an idea of what's going on. And then we have another pod that kind of does the same thing as well. And so if I was going to be around for the future, I would look at taking that future space and not maybe building cells per se, but building more of recovery feel area, but kind of like what maybe we've seen at Dearborn a little bit with the more dormitory style, which is what they're in. The pods are dormitory, but more individual space where they have more individual beds, more area for themselves, a little different decor that goes to the recovery piece and makes it feel more, not so much the jail, more of a recovery setting. And so I And if you did that, then obviously that would open up, not that we need it right now, but that would open up beds for future if we need them for actual population growth and inmates.
Yeah.
So, hopefully down the road, whenever it comes to and we see that there's growth needed for that recovery, which I assume there's going to be, there should be, we look at that area and we develop that in a space that, we can move that recovery piece to that area to make it more efficient that way.
My other question was about this slide in the mats. In 2024, 32 requested mats, 8 received Vivitrol. The numbers are kind of inverse in 25 where there were more mats than requested. Is that all Vivitrol or how does that come to be? What is it?
So it's mostly Vivitrol. We try to stay, and that's what's unique about our particular program. There's data out there that says, MAT and Suboxone, and, you got to have it in order to survive and, better. I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm not a scientist, but, so Suboxone inside a jail facility is very difficult. It's very difficult to regulate. They want to cheek it. They want to, they want to give it to somebody else. So it's really hard. So we don't do a lot of that. There's case law out there that says, and it may come to us at some point in time that forces us to do it. I don't know. But if somebody is on Suboxone in there, so if they come into jail and they test, we do, they say they're on it. And we can investigate and find out that they're on it and they're doing the program because they got to do programming along with it if they're on it. But if they come in and they're hot loaded with other things, Suboxone, heroin, fentanyl, marijuana, to me that's not, you're not doing what you're supposed to do in the program. We discontinue that because you're not doing what you're supposed to do anyway. Then we do what we've done for years, and we treat the symptom of withdrawal and everything else. That's what we do. Generally speaking, people don't want to be on Suboxone. They don't want to live the life to be tied down to that substance. And so we offer the Vivitrol on the way out because it's a different thing. It's a blocker. And, it blocks the euphoria of the high from the opioid.
It's an injection, right?
Yes, it's a 1-month injection. So they do have a Suboxone that's sublingual. It's also injectable, but we haven't went down that road either. But we do offer the Vivitrol. It's expensive, but we take some people take it just because they do still have that craving. That would stop the euphoria effect or stop the block for the high. So
the majority of the 23 is Vivitrol.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another program, Parenting Inside and Out. This is actually facilitated by our probation department. They come in, they facilitate the Parenting Inside and Out. We do the high school, HiSET, GED program. We have a health education program that's done by Step Up. We're actually the first jail in the state that actually provides this program. It's grant funded. It's run by previously incarcerated individuals that come in and actually run the program. You can see what some of the topics are that they actually talk about in that program there. This is just some other data, and I'll go through some tablet data, some more tablet data here in a minute. That's a big, the tablets are a big thing inside the facility. So we have currently, this year we've had 777 participants in that program, and through November we had 22,647 people that earned a certificate, and I'll explain some of those certificates in a minute. We have a life skills program, the health education program that I just talked about, which was that step up program. In 2025, we've had 131 participants in that. 115's completed that course. You see the AA and A. We have about 25 attend that particular program per week. Here's our GED, HiSET graduation scores. And we've had 60 participants, 32's taken the test. We've only had 8 pass. 22 is, 8 pass, partial pass, and then 22 actually received their diploma. And so they are getting their education while they're there. The Parenting Inside Now, I talked about that with probation. Number completed the program this year has been 14. We have an MRT anger management program in there as well. 16 completed, or 21 completed that program. 21 participants, and then completed between October and December. That one's fairly new. Domestic violence MRT, facilitated by Community Corrections. We do now also have one of my justice navigators, or my jail navigators. She is also certified in MRT, so she's facilitating that with the women. Peer recovery, we have peer recovery coaches come in as well. You know, that's an important project, you know, and those are lived experience, people that's had lived experience coming in with recovery, and so they come in and they talk with our individuals there as well. We have recovery circles, facilitated by Recovery Cafe, Smart Recovery, Certified Addiction Peer Recovery Coaching, that was the certified peer recovery coaching. Individuals at 2025, number of individual sessions, 229. Average number of sessions per week is 9 with our recovery coaches. We have Fogo. I can't forget about him. Some programs still under construction. We got tobacco coat sensation. We're working on that. I'm still working on the vehicles for choice. I'm working, still working on some IT stuff to get that going, but that's going to be a VR training system where they'll be able to get ASE certifications for mechanical, for working on vehicles, changing oils, changing tires, doing brakes, things like that. And it's all VR done. We started the MRT back in October. Tablets. We talk about tablets, and then it's a large expense, but it's a major part of our programming that we actually go through and are in that jail. And so, all the programs that we actually offer, I mean, there's back end purpose for it, that result in good things. So when you keep people busy and they're educating, and they feel like they're worth something and doing something, we're cutting down on fights. We're cutting down on injuries to staff and inmates. We're cutting down on litigation. We're reducing the amount of people that are coming into the facility, which reduces healthcare costs, which reduces our meal cost by having them not be there. And so there's a lot of back-end stuff, even though there's a lot of cost up front, there's a lot of back-end things that we don't really pay attention to that make a difference. And these tablets go to that. And then there's a lot of workforce stuff a part of these particular programs. And so, so what we've seen this year, you can look at total hours spent in programs. 70,764 hours have been spent in programs so far this year. 107,531 of all time since we started the program. And so you can see that the numbers are large. I mean, we've 2,404 certificates, all time 3,286 certificates. These certificates, go back to getting employment, getting people educated, getting people skills to get jobs when they leave the facility. And there's also the personal development portion of the tablets as well. And so you can see most earned certificates is in our master plan, which I'll give you some information on that in a minute. But you can also see at the bottom here, we have appliance repair, solar, the plumbing, electrical, HVAC, electrical, advanced manufacturing. You can see where our levels are in our trades are higher, or our higher numbers are at, which is a good thing. We have very smart individuals that are in there. You just got to give them an opportunity and give them a chance. Job-specific certificates, they're again electrical, interplay, HVAC, our higher certificate courses. These are our programming hours. So you can see, like say in March of 2025, You know, we're up around 9,000 hours a month.
Brad,
Academic skill enrollments, or just go ahead.
could I ask you back on your, like the skills, the mechanics, and is that all just academic in-house learning, or do they go,
It's all in-house certificates, all academic, all through the tablet.
okay, they're not actually
They're
working?
not working anywhere, they're not going anywhere.
Okay.
That would be, and if I was going to be around another 6, try to facilitate something to that effect. That's what I would like to also see a little bit when we get this new building, this new facility in the back, where, you know, down the road where we, you know, maybe we're changing our oil, maybe we're changing our own brakes, you know, things to that effect, where we can educate those guys in that facility to be able to do something. That would be a goal I would have had I been still be around, to be able to do some of that as well. So
On the tablets, I'm going to bring this up real quick. I don't talk too long on this. But I know people have been against tablets, but when I went to, Judge Sirk had me do another speech at drug court, and this time instead of speaking, I met with them privately and did a Q&A. And of the things I learned from them, the biggest thing, the most important thing to them, the thing that helped them the most of everything that's been done in the jail system and going through drug court is the tablets. The people were most excited about the tablets. They are taking those degrees and now have jobs and work at it. And they were telling me all about that and how that was the most important thing. And please always fund it was essentially their message to me, probably above anything else, even keeping drug court. So that was a massive statement by them. I wanted to bring that up so you all are aware of it from my.
yeah, for whatever reason, if there's something with a glitch, if there's something that goes down, you know, and they stop working for a minute, I mean, they just blow up, you know, with messages saying, hey, it's down, it's not working, we can't connect, we can't get on this. And so it is a major part of what we do there, in keeping them busy and getting them certificates. And and that's what's really cool too, and I've talked about it before, is you know, when you go back there and you hand them a certificate or they get a certificate, you know, you just see the enthusiasm on their face because they've never received anything before. They've never graduated from school. Nobody's ever given them a certificate. Nobody's ever cared about them getting that. And so when they see that, they're proud of what they've got. And so that's why they're just so ingrained in getting as many as they can. And we've even had to limit them on some of them because it's like, listen, you're going to have to share the wealth, you know, because sometimes they're limited on the particular programs because of licensing. And so you can only get so many, but they just really, really, truly want to learn. And I've had them say, you know, if it wasn't offered, if we had to pay for it, we wouldn't do it, you know, type things. And so, like you said, it is a very important part of what we do there.
When I've gone to visit MRT, the first time I ever went to go sit through the sessions with the guys in the cell, Matthew, who you saw in the trailer video, the guy that has his head shaved, he told me, he said, when you go in with the women, you'll hear them talk about becoming a better mother. But when you go in to the men, you will hear them talk about wanting to be a good employee, which kind of surprised me. And sure enough, it did come up right away. You know, when they talk about leaving, it's about being able to be a good employee, being able to be a provider if they have a family, but even just a provider for themselves. So there's a whole lot of like self-esteem that I didn't recognize tied to getting a job and feeling like that's something worth staying sober for.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they all have reasons for staying sober, and, you know, like the one girl that Danielle, that, you know, we kind of pulled out originally, and, you know, and she, you know, she says, you know, one of her big reasons for staying sober is because of, you know, you and Crystal, you know, believing in me, believing in, you know, you've seen something in me that nobody's seen before, and that's why I don't want to let you down. And so, and now she runs a recovery center in Ohio. You know, but those are the stories that make you know that you're doing what you need to do to make things better. And so, academic skills, I mean, is part of the tablets as well. You know, not just the trade stuff, but you know, they got college prep exam, you know, stuff, GED prep course. So that all helps with our GED and HiSET stuff. Soft skill courses. This is that master plan that is very high in what what they're doing as well. There again, soft skill enrollments, digital literacy, basic work skills program, financial literacy, that's a big thing. Personal development, that's the master plan stuff. And so this is some of the stuff in the master plan. Breaking generation cycles and transformation, family-centered purpose. And so there's just so much that these tablets are able to accomplish that they have the opportunity to utilize. Staff to student communication, I think this is important too. I mean, they have the ability through the kiosks inside the blocks to be able to communicate to the navigators. And they're pushing out information all the time, asking questions. What can I do? Can I do this? Can I do that? And you can see the numbers, and say like in the peak there, February 2025, I mean, you're at 900 messages being sent to the navigation throughout the facility during that time period. And so they're very busy responding to inmates through communications through the tablets and through the kiosk inside the block. Just want to bring up, these are all our partners, since the beginning that we actually work with now with our navigation. So you can see the navigation, they outreach a lot of different programs, a lot of different places, and working with many places to get people where they need to go once released. So we're living places, and so it's just amazing. We started out with nothing, and within 4 years, here we are with all this contact. We work with the churches. That's an important part of it as well. We have Park Chapel comes in, one of our programs. He actually comes in and does a physical fitness program with them. Exercises and keep fit, and stuff. So that's part of some of our.
Hey, Brad, quick question. So you get individuals that are, really participating. Do they sometimes then request a modification of sentence and go back? Agreement between the prosecutor and defense counsel, and they can maybe get a modification and out of your jail.
Yeah, we're seeing that. We're seeing more of that now a little bit with the judges. When we first started, judges really didn't know how successful we were, but now that they know we are, they'll actually say, hey, if you complete MRT, you can come back and you can request a modification. Not that you're going to get it, because I know there's been a couple that haven't, but they can request that modification. But I've had some too that, it's like, yeah, you obviously want people to get out of jail, but never been provided anything before for me of the programs that are offered. So they don't want that modification because they want to be able to continue to be able to get as much as they can while they're there. So it just depends on the individual, but yes, we do see some modification.
I stopped in a local business a few weeks ago, and the guy at the counter I had met when the last time I came to MRT that has the.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he was like, and he told me how good he was doing and all the good things, and was just saying, going to Hancock County Jail is the best thing that ever happened to me. He was so grateful for the time he spent there. Yeah.
He's a good dude, and he was one of our inmate workers. And I talked to him before he left, and I said, "Listen, you're ready. And, at the time, you got a story to tell.
He does.
You have a story, and you can make a difference, and you can be one of these peer recovery people. Come in and give your story because you have visible signs, obviously. But I know he goes to church.
Oh,
God, and goes there, and so he attends that. And so, yeah, and so he does. He's got a story, but yes, you're right.
He'll be great at telling it. It'll make a difference.
Final tips and takeaways. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different pathway, and that's why the navigation team, You know, they meet with them, they decide which path they need to go, and we give them that opportunity there to make things better for them, because they may never have had that opportunity before. So these are just some of our success stories, some of the things we've done. You know, Crystal's been to South Carolina, did a presentation with Origin. I went to DC and did a presentation. Did the Addicts Wake. You know, we've done some podcasts. Crystal co-presented with Origin on a webinar. I did the Addicts Wake at a national conference. Talked to Madison County, Adams County, and then we're actually doing we're going to be co-presenters this summer with Origin at an educational conference, national educational conference here in Indianapolis. And so, you know, we get around, we do things, and you know, we tell our story. So I guess with that, I mean, that kind of puts the preface on and what Jim really wanted, and you should, hopefully you have it in your packet. You know, the jail programming budget summary that, you know, I've kind of come up with for the 2027 budget. And most of it really revolves around the navigation money. You know, we know that two of the navigators are in ARPA currently. We know that that fund ends at the end of 2026. Though, you know, it shows their salaries. One of the navigators is being paid, partially paid out of the Health First Indiana fund, which I'm not going to do anymore after this year. And so, because I think that fund got decreased from what it was. I think they lost some money in that. So I don't think the plan is to go ahead and help fund that one. So our major costs are what you're going to see to try to figure out in 27 is the navigation piece and how to fund that. And then on top of that, I did put in the program, you know, allocation of 120,000. That I don't expect to happen. And the reason I put that there is because that's the part of the MRT. That's what Matthews is. And since he is not paid by the county, he's grant funded through the ISA, it comes through the Sheriff's Association from the state. If that would ever go away, if that would just fall off, which I don't think it's going to, there's no indication it's going to fall off next year. You know,
Brad,
that's what it would cost.
Who's the ISA?
Indiana Sheriff's Association. So they get it through DMHA, or Department of Mental Health, I think, is where it comes, filters through ISA,
Okay.
and pays him through Quality Correctional. Okay. I don't think that's going to go away. I talked to him, but I just wanted to add it just so in the future, if that grant fund goes away for whatever reason, that would be what it would take to fund that, because that's important, and that's a very important piece of what's going on along with the tablets. And so,
When will you know about, are you suggesting that we put it in the budget just in case, or when would you know if the next year is funded?
we'll know at budget time.
You will know if you're.
We'll have more information by then. You know, this was for 27, and obviously which will be budget time. I just kind of wanted to throw out there now.
Yes, yeah.
On the radar, yes, but I don't anticipate it being there. But I know it, in 27, we're going to have to figure out what.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, question for you. So
Sure.
these amounts, 2027 funding need, I assume that is the salary itself. Deb or Mary, have we been using ARPA to pay for any of their benefits or FICA tax?
Yes,
It's all coming out of the.
yes.
So this is not really the amount. We need to go ahead and add benefits and FICA and pension to this number if
We
ARPA's
haven't
been
been paying
covering
the
it.
pension out of it.
Well, the pension's out of PERF, so it's just because it's PERF pension, so it doesn't get paid out of that.
So just health insurance and FICA taxes.
Yeah, I didn't take the total.
Well, I'm sure we'll have all those numbers for
We
you
do,
when you get ready
yeah.
to.
And I didn't look at that piece.
But that'll
Being
be
paid out
call
of
it
his
an.
budget now.
Paid out of ARPA. Yeah, it's being paid out of the
Oh,
ARPA.
right.
Yeah. Everything currently for them is
In
being
there
paid out of
somewhere.
ARPA.
Okay,
Not
it's not just the salary.
Right.
Yeah, so we need, but is it in your, is it already in your budget and getting reimbursed from ARPA, or it's not in the
It's
budget?
its own fund, it's its own fund.
It is coming
It's in
straight
the
out of ARPA.
payroll out of that line.
Okay. And then because Matthew has been grant funded and is a contractor, let's pretend the grant evaporated indefinitely. Would we be budgeting more than 120 to also cover the, I mean, would we be trying to hire him as a full-time employee of the county?
So I talked to him about that.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't interested in doing that. So what probably would happen would be is if that grant went up, since he's employed by QCC,
Yeah,
paid through them through the grant, my suggestion would be is we would just increase the medical budget.
for his contract.
For his contract piece.
Okay.
And that way, that just pays for him out of the medical to be there. And that way,
Okay.
it just,
But wouldn't need benefits or,
no.
okay,
No, he still remains an employee of them, but still works here doing that.
okay.
Going forward, maybe not even into 27, but I would assume, we're supposed to be getting the opioid money on a continual basis.
We do,
That
yeah.
some of this would definitely qualify, I would think.
Absolutely. I mean, especially obviously unrestricted, but I mean even restricted because that's what we're working on inside the jail.
Right.
And so I don't know specific definitions on that, but I would say so, yes.
That's what it looked like to me. I looked up some things yesterday.
Yeah, I don't want to quote it because I don't know it verbatim, but if you look through a lot of the guidance that was issued on opioid, these things certainly would qualify under allowable uses. But there is also guidance that the money is not intended to just replace, to cover things that were already in your budget. So,
Sure.
We'd have to defer to legal opinion if it came to that, if we didn't have money to pay for it elsewhere and wanted to use opioid funds. I bet it passes the bar, but there is also guidance that they don't want you covering your pre-existing expenses with it.
That sounds right for a grant.
Right. They want new resources added. Which if the inmate population goes up, you won't be that far from adding more than these resources.
Yeah, it's kind of balance the, hey, you do a good job with the programming, keeping your levels down.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you don't have that increase. That would be the idea.
I would think that in 27, our first look should be at putting it in the general fund budget. We are well over target in the general fund, as we talked about at the beginning of the meeting. It is perpetual ongoing expense.
Greg Garatos indicated recently that he thinks that if we accumulate all of the costs that we're incurring with the hospital also, that would make a really good case next year for going for an excess levy based on mental health, which would be general fund.
Yeah, but we're not going to get an excess levy every year. And if you put all of the costs for all the mental health, which is probably pushing $750,000 now, if you put all of that in, and then let's say 28, it doesn't happen, the excess levy doesn't happen, then we got a little bit of an issue. I'm just brainstorming, Jim, when you
Right.
throw all that in there, we may not have got an excess levy this year. I know Garatos saying that they made their mind up, but they didn't call us. So that doesn't go positive for my thinking about it. And yeah, we could put it in there, but if we guarantee we're going to pay all that and then we don't get the excess levy, I'm thinking about 28 or something where we're going to be.
We'd just be behind the 8 ball every year,
Well,
depending on how that excess levy request played out. So I agree that it should be put in a funding
yeah,
mechanism.
no, I agree, but there is that possibility. And it's not going to be 750,000. It's going to be more like $1,200,000, $1,300,000.
So it's going the other way. My first priority
be
for
more.
me personally, and my vote will run towards us with the jail navigation system and our own, or you know what I mean, this program here.
We have to prioritize what
And
we're
then
facilitating.
after that, then if we can make a good case where the money could come from. But yeah, this 202,000 a year, and it has to come out of general fund. It has to be permanent. It has to be in there somehow. We have to figure out how to move it in there somehow.
Well, he's got more requests.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know, but I mean.
You ain't done.
Well, and I'm sure that we'll be continually discussing with Greg our 5-year plus sustainability even more often than usual because of SB1. But to Ken's point also earlier, you know, we started this year with 21.6 in general fund. And we, if you remember last year, approved a budget that was intended to be more than our anticipated receipts because we were going to spend down the balance. And we still ended the year with 28.9, I'm sorry, with 23.9 million. So I definitely think there's room for these expenditures and agree that outside of this system, everything needs evaluated separately.
And, you know, to that though, one reason we ended up with a little bit more money is because our health issue wasn't as bad in 2025 as it was in 2024. In 2023 and 2024, we had excessive health claims. And that it subsided a little bit when we geared up for it, but that doesn't mean 2026, you know, that's a wild card. So we still got to prepare ourselves for health claims.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty there to increase those target balances.
But we always do have to remember that that general fund, there's a lot of places that are already funds that are spoken for with that. So, you know, it's not like we'd have $23 million to deal with.
No,
A lot of that is already spoken for.
Yeah. And we don't have the total picture yet on the mental health because I apologize. I talked with Amanda Everidge, and she thought that she was coming to next week's meeting, which she will. So we intended to have both of them here together, so we're looking at the whole thing because they do interact together. They're not separate.
Yeah.
So we'll get that next week.
Yeah.
That's where I get the $1 million too.
Yeah, well, I look at this as, you know, people that have a lot of money, facility, but, you know, people that are in the jail, they have no hope for anything like that at all, and this is giving them that.
Yeah. It is.
Again, the new guy, but I think also just from this short presentation, there's additional cost if you don't invest here. So while it may not be a full $750,000, it may only be $300 or $400, because if you don't do it, there could be, I don't know what the cost of a bed and 3 meals and all of that is, but if the jail population soars or, you know, something because we don't do this. So I think not looking at it in a vacuum of what the total cost is, but what the net cost. So I think the net cost could only be $200 or $250. You would probably, I'm not going to ask you to run those numbers, but that might be good for us to have what you think the net investment would be, because you have this investment, you have the do nothing. We might meet somewhere in the middle, but that might be good to have. Maybe there's a better term for it, but I would call it what's the net cost of this.
So if I was holding all DOC inmates, we would get $42 a day to hold them from the state. It's more like $79 a day is what it really truly would be to actually hold one, but they're only going to pay us, the state only pays us $40. Back last fall, I calculated, which I should have done for this, but I calculated the amount of days of the individuals that had not come back. How long, you know, days that they hadn't been reincarcerated, which was like 69,000 days of all of them. And I calculated by the high and the low, and at $70 a day, had they been incarcerated, it was upwards around $6.5 million of cost had they been in jail for that time period that we weren't, county taxpayers weren't paying because they were not incarcerated for those days. And so it sounds like a lot at the beginning, but when you look at those numbers, I mean, there is a substantial difference in that cost. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. To have that true net between the two. Yeah.
And I think too, we're investing here in prevention, not just incarceration. And maybe we're preventing a mass shooting. You don't know.
Hopefully we're preventing lots of things, preventing, future burglaries, future thefts, future DUIs, everything, domestic violence. Yes, absolutely. Hopefully you see those numbers of everything going down by what we're doing, so.
Can somebody refresh my memory? Last year, we went ahead and got that 250 for the Origin tablets in the budget. It was in general fund.
It was in Lowit.
Yeah. Now, currently, it's for the 26 budget, I had to look it up. Well, I had to get Mary to look it up because I couldn't find it. It's in the Lowit Correctional Facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one, 2, 3, 4.
But it's in there.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And that number I put in there actually is about 5,000 high. I got a number about 243, 244 the other day, so it's a little higher, but close.
And then the sub fund is the one we're moving a few basis points
Yes.
to.
We should have, and we will in effect.
Yeah, we'll double check with Greg. I'm sure that if it was already in that budget for 26, that it was in the 26 budget, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that part of that lit is going down. And I think maybe he didn't catch it right at first because after we put in the request for the lit change, this came up. And we had put in the change request for lit economic development rather than lit
Oh, that's right, you
jail.
said that.
So,
Because also, I
and
think.
we were afraid to change it.
Yeah, because we've changed the matrix, we've changed correction officer pay, and so, yeah, when you look at the receipts and expenditures, it's definitely out of balance.
Yeah.
So are you ladies able to deposit funds from lit economic development into lit correctional facility sub-fund, or would you just start paying it out of lit economic development? Are you allowed to move funds from, I didn't think so.
Not like that, no.
So yeah,
That's
so it'd be like,
collected from the state and we deposit in.
and now we're stuck with that for a year before we could change the percentage to the,
I understood from Greg that somehow we could move it.
okay, we'll ask him about that.
Yeah, we just wouldn't be able to commingle the funds.
Because it sounds like in 2026, you're gonna have to pay expenses out of economic development that we've been paying out of the lit correctional facility sub-fund unless we reallocate
Yeah.
that piece of the tax rate.
Or
Pay out of the different funds, but we just can't
Right.
commingle.
Yeah.
That's the
or
cleanest
we
way,
could
don't you
take
think,
an
Deb?
expense out of the jail and put it into economic development.
Yeah.
We can do it some way. Money's fungible.
I just want to publicly recognize you, Sheriff, because the initiatives that you've taken in these programs that you have done, I think you've made a tremendous impact on people's lives. You should be recognized for that.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, and it's a model, honestly, it's a model that could be followed in a lot of different counties with the sheriff's departments, really across the country when you think about it. Because we always think of a sheriff as being a law enforcement guy, and, arrest people, get them in jail, and they're more concerned about that part. But what you have done is just your legacy.
I appreciate that, thank you much. That means a lot coming from you.
Yeah. Also, the council and the commissioners should be commended for funding these programs.
Yeah,
That's the other part of it, and, you know, I can see what it's done.
Yeah, absolutely, and I greatly appreciate it, and I know everybody that's going through a program appreciates it, and I got a great team. I mean, obviously, I come up with ideas and, you know, things like that, but, I mean, truly speaking, my team, my navigation team, they're the ones that are doing it and making it happen. So, but I do greatly appreciate that. Thank you much.
You want to go right on?
Yeah, now he wants more money.
Let's talk about more money now.
Yeah, now he wants more money.
Now for the ask.
The cars.
Now for the ask.
Vehicles.
He needs to borrow John's tie.
So so we'll switch
He's
gears.
got a tile.
We can switch gears a little
Dollar
bit.
signs.
So in your packet, I have the costs associated with the 2026 model cars, and the total amount of $833,280. Originally, we were looking at 20. I've reduced that to 15 based off of mileage, and so I'm just looking to get 15 to replace what we got in 2026 that are already exceeding 100,000 miles or more already. And so the earlier that I can get these ordered, the faster that I can get them, because if we order them now, they'll be predicted to be in by June potentially, which is kind of hard for me to believe, but you know, usually
Mid-year.
because it's the fall when they come in. So, but anyway, I needed to get, I guess, that approval. This is what it's going to be, to go ahead and move forward to get that rolling.
The 2025 GO bond is used up. There were sheriff's cars in that, so this will have to come out of a 26 GO bond. But like we did last year, we could say, okay, go ahead and we can use, what did we say, general fund money or
I
food
think
and
that or
beverage
food and
or
beverage.
something?
Food and beverage, I think.
We
Food
think
and
it
beverage,
was,
we
To
replaced
get
it.
us by until the other money
So we
comes
can
in.
get
And we had it in the
Right.
GEO bond agreement that it would be reimbursed.
Reimbursed, yeah.
So I have a question then, and Deborah and I were talking about this for the 2025 GEO bond. Our balance is $4,325 and change, marked for projects $314,000. So we've not accounted for $833,000 out of the 2025 bond yet.
that's not earmarked in there.
That's not earmarked in there.
This
Okay.
is a new,
I didn't understand what you were asking.
Yeah, that's all right.
right, this is a new
Yeah.
scenario. Right. Quick question though, is this, how much every year? Because we're being told this the last year we'll be able to lean on bonds. There won't be a 2027, that's what we're kind of planning for. There won't be a 2027 bond.
Yeah,
So-
it's going to be fairly consistent. I mean,
So you about
I need to
15
go
cars
back,
a
and I don't know
year.
how many sure, because based off years, again, we've gotten, there again, COVID messed with us a lot in
Yeah.
how we did our rotation, because, you know, that one year they weren't building them, and then then we got a hold of a bunch, and then we were able to get 20, and then so
Oh,
it kind
that's
of
right.
recreated,
Yeah.
the rotation kind of messed up, and then we were leasing, now we're buying, and so trying to get everything back squared away in order. I'd have to go look and see how many 24s that we'd be replacing in 27, to give you a number on what that's going to be, to see, you know, and then obviously, you know, what's the increase in cost going to be? You know, you're looking at probably $1,000 or $2,000 maybe a car. But it's going to be close to that 15 number, I'm pretty sure.
So-
It could be 10 to 15, I think.
Yeah, we'll just have to keep in mind in the future, after this, of where we'll fund out.
Right.
And maybe some of this we can lean on or something like that. We can lean on some of this. $800,000 a year that's not in the general fund right now is a toughie going into SB1.
And also, that's not net either, right? You trade these in.
We'll trade them in, and either trade them then, or we'll sell them. And so I'll probably utilize Enterprise, because they said that we'll do that, even though that we didn't buy them or leasing them from them on the new ones, our purchase ones. But they can facilitate a sale to maybe a smaller agency somewhere that's, maybe just needing a car, where we might get a little bit of an increase in cost versus trading them. So there will be some return on what we have. How much it is, I don't know. It's not going to be phenomenal by any means, but
5% if we're lucky.
yeah.
That
there will
comes back to
a
the
little bit.
general fund.
Yeah.
So whatever that is.
That comes back to the general fund by default?
I suppose, auditor,
I'm sorry.
If
It
they
would
trade a
go
car
back
in
where
and
it
they get
came
money
from.
It
for it,
always
does
goes
it come
back
back
where
to
it comes
general
from.
fund by default or?
Or wherever they're
there.
being purchased from is where it
Yeah.
goes.
I don't
It'll
think
go
you
back to
can
wherever
go
it came
back to a
from.
bond.
Well, it comes from the bond.
No, no.
The
Well,
purchase of the cars
not a
come from the
bond.
bond.
Can't go back to a bond.
Okay. Then-
And we did pay the previous vehicles out of the general fund and reimbursed that. So
Oh.
if this is a conversation that you think you want to go ahead and advertise that money out of the general fund to prepare moving forward, we could do the same type of thing and reimburse when we close on the bond.
I think we
You wanna
need to do a reimbursement resolution
Yes.
before we do any of that.
Just like we
Yeah.
did, most recently, we did a reimbursement resolution.
Would you prepare one for the council meeting?
Always have to have a
So
resolution to
we
reimburse.
could do that in the council meeting. He'll prepare a resolution.
Yeah, because he needs to order the equipment.
Little direction, I'll make sure kind of like what we did the last.
Your expectation is that if you moved forward with this order now, you would be paying when?
I would see, well, again, it just depends on what they say when they're coming in. I'm looking at a June, July, possibly. I don't think it'll be anytime sooner than that. I can't believe they're going to get them built that quick. It just seems to me not happening, but
So you would be interested as soon as today in a motion to proceed with initiating the purchase, but we have plenty of time to do
Yes.
a reimbursement resolution and before we pay for them.
absolutely. I just need to get a thumbs up on an order.
Yeah.
Thumbs
All
up
right,
to
well, I'll-
advertise.
A thumbs up to advertise
Do
the
we
money
need the
from
resolution
County
before
General?
we
Yeah.
advertise?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, we'll have to wait
Wait
until
till
after the
Wednesday?
resolution.
Wednesday, okay.
So let me ask a question then, so I have my information correct. The funding source was planned to be out of the 2025 GEO bond, and we are not doing that, is that correct?
No,
So do I need to put that in the spending plan for the 2026 bond?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
So it's going to be 2026 bond.
yes.
Right now, you're saying in 2025, you have 800 and some thousand that hasn't been accounted for yet.
No, we used it
It's,
for your first set of cars.
Yeah.
And that's what then we had to reimburse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If the shell's out.
Now, did you have to wait on your car, I mean, the funding quite a while the cars were waiting? Did you
We
deal
got
with
it all
that?
worked out. They were fine. I mean, but
You
we
waited, they were sitting
we
there
were a
waiting for you.
month.
Yeah.
I would be surprised
Yeah.
if you get your cars in June.
I would be too. When they told me that, I was like, yeah.
I would like to be sure we have the money, though. I didn't like that last year.
No, I didn't either, but
Yeah,
as long as,
we couldn't pay for
I
them
mean,
when
it
they
could always
came.
be the first time
If I
ever.
worked
hey,
them,
order them and then I know what's
During
gonna happen.
COVID,
then-
We
This is a
waited
good
years
number then.
for cars,
Okay,
years.
take care of that next week.
okay. I'll just wait till next week to call them and say,
I don't think you did.
order them.
We didn't spend anything else.
And so lastly, you should have in your packet, and obviously this has been a discussion here lately in the last couple months. And it involves the addition of court security officers.
yeah.
And so I came up with a proposal for that. I know originally I had said 6. I put in this proposal 5. I was just trying to maybe help out the council a little bit. I think we probably still need 6, but I wanted to get something started. I wanted to get it going. And so that's why I put in 5. The idea for the program would be as a kind of a subdivision of the jail. And I would foresee taking senior jail officers and place them in the court in the annex, and then rehire at lower rate new jail officers to fill those spots. that way it's kind of operated through the jail and as far as that goes. So I took it to the commissioners yesterday ahead of time, got a thumbs up from them to move forward with the proposal and presenting it to you today.
Now, do they do away with their bailiffs and?
So they have their own individual bailiffs, which is different than the court security, yeah. So they have bailiffs that sit inside their courtrooms, but they do different functions.
So these are not in the courtroom people?
These would be in the courthouse. They're not specifically inside the courts. Now, they may be, depending on the situation. They could be called up there to go in the court if need be, depending on the volatility of who's ever there. But mainly it's for the security of the court, the entry points, the floors, the annex.
Over here?
Here.
How many people?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, because I do this all the time going over there, all five, where are they going to be? They'll be there at the same time? Or is it staggered? Because I know that they're full-time.
They're full-time, and it's going to be they'll probably be on some sort of flex schedule depending on times. We're also looking at, at least once a month being here for a planning commission meeting. Right. We've had some issues with, so there'll be some flex time to have somebody here present for that, somebody to have somebody here. The idea would be to have 5 here all the time, Monday through Friday. We obviously don't need them on the weekends, but flex those times during the day depending on what we need. The only big thing that we're going to run into is it's not so much days off because they'll all be together Monday through Friday. It's just going to be the PTO time. When we want vacation, when we want time off. And so
Will one be assigned to this building then?
that's the hope, is to make that happen,
Well,
yes.
can you keep from trying to burn overtime or anything like that by the flex time scheduling when they have evening meetings here that someone has to be here? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's not so much overtime, it's just the PTO time they gather. They get their regular PTO time that they earn.
Yeah.
So that's taking those days off, for vacation or sick. And so, if you have 5 and all of a sudden, hey, you got somebody sick and somebody's on vacation, then you're down 2. So we're hoping to backfill those spots with the part-time. When we have part-time and say, I'm going to be on vacation, can I get a part-time guy to fill that spot while they're there? So that's the idea, hopefully going forward with that.
So will the part-time budget then need to be cut because you won't need the part-timers as much as.
Well, the problem is we don't have part-time now. We just had one retire. And, and so we're actually trying to get a few more part-time just so we can have the flexibility. Because you might have the numbers, we may have 5, but they're not all going to work all the time, but you got to have the budget, we may be able to reduce it somehow, but we also have our whole part-time includes all our part-time. That includes, any kind of part-time maintenance that we got, court security, anything that we deal in part-time, so.
And just case in point, I wanted to make just this week, and I haven't told the sheriff this yet, our mail carrier kind of had a little meltdown up in the auditor's office and then continued that into the hall. And Corey witnessed it, our cleaning lady witnessed it, and a couple of patrons to the annex witnessed it. And it was brutal. So I met with the postmaster yesterday, and he is under investigation, but I saw him walk through here.
Oh, really?
But those are the types of things that are going to, when you say go postal, I think you did.
Well,
to an extent.
Did an
So, Brad-
officer come over from the?
No, he left on his route. But, as I told the postmaster, I said, had the sheriff or one of his deputies been in the building, he'd probably been in cuffs.
And Brad, you say the judges are supportive of this? Are they?
Well, they're definitely supportive of having more security, yes. Now, I didn't give them a number figure. I didn't, I didn't say, hey, I'm going to ask for 5. I didn't say, what are you supportive of number-wise? They are definitely supportive of having more over there, yes. And I know there's been conversations amongst council and members and them, and I think even commissioners and them, and probably they voiced their opinions on court security, so.
How do you handle currently issues in the courts? My wife was just in a week-long case. And she said that on the last day of court, the jury went out and then came back into the court, and suddenly there were like 4 uniformed officers in the court. She didn't know whether they were jail or, merit deputies or where they came from.
Yeah, that's
Learned
good.
later that
It's
the
good when you can just surprise
defendant
people.
had gone ballistic, and
Yeah.
so you obviously do something.
Yeah, and so depending on the threat, depending on the volatility of the situation, we get manpower there. And so, we got a large scale case coming up at the end of the month that's going to take some manpower to make that happen. I know that's kind of a concerning trial that's going to take place here. And so we're working on that currently to make that happen and get more manpower there. We're utilizing, some jail staff now over in court security because we lost one of our part-time, he retired, and so he's gone. We've lost a couple other part-time over the time period, so we're only down to maybe 1 or 2. I think we got 2 part-time guys right now. So I'm currently utilizing a couple of jail officers over there, but when you do that, then that decreases the staffing levels at the jail. And so, but
So is this 5 net increase?
Yes.
But how much were we already budgeting and spending to do court security that would not be needed because of the 5 new?
Well, that would only involve, the part-time money, because we have 1 full-time guy over there that's in salary already.
Stay
that's
and
in
get the
here.
rank pay.
Yes, correct.
Is that Jay?
That's Jay. And so the others, everybody else in that falls under the part-time salary payment.
And that's already in the jail's budget?
Sorry?
Is that already in the
Yes.
jail's budget?
Yes.
Is there other part-time in the jail's budget that's not courthouse related? Would I be able
Yes.
to tell what's what if I?
Probably not.
Okay.
It's all lumped together. So it's really my maintenance. I have a maintenance guy that's part-time. He's been for a while. And then I got a logistics guy that's part-time, but he just retired January 2nd. So, but he's going to stay on part-time and help a little bit here and there. So it's really hard to tell because it's on one fund. And so you could probably pull it through salary and see the individuals on what they're getting paid and where it's coming from, yes.
Yeah, if, next time we talk about this, if we could, just at least a ballpark of, I mean, we are paying people some amount of money to be there, so how much is that? Because that's not.
But you're still going to have to utilize that. You
Yeah,
still can't get rid
On
of
top of these 5.
Yes.
Yeah, you made this.
The part-time, because
an increase.
if you're calling for 5 full-time and I want them all the time,
Yeah, they gotta.
if they're going to be
take time
off, if I take a PTO day, if I call in sick, so that 5 goes down to 2 or goes down to 3, I got to fill those 2 spots
And you've
with
already
somebody.
made the comment that the part-time monies needs to stay in
Yes,
place.
yes.
For situations like what you
Right.
just said. So we just recognize
This would
the
just be
fact that
adding
this
5
is-
additional
This is just new
employees,
people.
full-time
Basic, yes.
employees.
Which I personally, and Kent and I have talked about, is
Yes.
we've been running on borrowed time. We're lucky that we've not had anything significant or major go on
Absolutely.
in one of these buildings that we were not there
Okay,
to handle.
When I was on the school board, there was a film that happened at that time from Florida where a gentleman walked into the room, the school board room, started shooting school board members. Okay? And so I had a big beef. They wouldn't let me carry a weapon into my school board meetings. Okay? And I was previously a police officer. I was trained. I knew, I'm certified I was certified for the state, everything. They would not let me carry because it was on school property. And so I think that's why you see now police officers at the school board meetings. They weren't prior, okay? We did have death threats when I was on the school board from a couple gentlemen because we went through a building phase. I've read death threats to the council since I've been here for 13 years from some people that are so far out there on.
Sure.
Okay, so whether you realize it or not, we have had death threats and we are living on borrowed time. I don't see any way around this. It's now we have the capacity to do this to help us out some. I struggle too a little bit with not carrying a weapon in here. I feel safe when Brad's here. He comes to all the meetings. We have somebody at the meetings, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I don't go with the planning commission meetings. I don't go to the other meetings. If there's not somebody there, there probably should be somebody there. It's just the nature, it's the nature of the beast.
Well, I'm glad that there's going to be one. I just know from past that the assessor's office had issues. I know the auditor's office has had issues, and I don't know about the other offices, but we've all had those moments where we need to either hit the button or somebody make a call real quick and get somebody over here, so.
Well, and I shared with you the experience that, one of the experiences that we had, where we had somebody threatening people out in the parking lot, and we called 911, and nobody ever showed up. That's because they didn't call you. I mean, that usually goes to the Greenfield Police. I'm sure there was a miscommunication somewhere, but, you know, what if he, exactly, you know, if he did his threats, we wouldn't have had any protection. So I think people think that because we're paperwork people, they think, but people do get very upset with some of the things.
Yeah, and I want people to understand too, you know, yeah, if you, even though you got security here, I mean, if there's a legitimate threat, I mean, if you feel uncomfortable that there's a legitimate threat, my suggestion is not seek out the person that's in this building. My suggestion is to contact 911. Because when you contact 911, that gets dispatched. And it, you know, you might have a city officer sitting right there, right there, right there. You know, you might have a county officer sitting right there, right there. You know, you're going to get response. And so I struggle.
That's who we called. We called
I can't-
911 and nobody
That's really
came.
surprising.
But, you know, to be fair, but then I have to say one time, a man was threatening over there. He came into my office and John followed him over here. He was the police chief at the time, and he followed him over here because I turned around and looked and he was standing in the back of my office. So I knew there was a problem, you know.
Yeah.
But, and the guy did leave, but, you know, so I want to make sure I balance that out.
Yeah.
Jim makes a lot of people mad.
Yes, he does.
You know, we're always worried
That's only
about
department head.
Jim. Yeah, Jim makes a lot of people mad. So
Yeah.
we're always worried about them taking
They're
their
talking
on
about
us.
you.
Ed, what happens if I press this?
Once you press that button, you're going to get a response.
He's gonna get paged that somebody, one of us.
My phone's going to go off.
Well, I used to cross the street.
Well, yeah, he used to anymore, so it
We
goes to the
do
911
need
center.
somebody here in the annex full-time, and I appreciate you
I mean, you know, that's a
realizing that.
deterrent. I mean, obviously, you know, it's like the schools, and that's why we have law enforcement in schools. It's a deterrent. It takes a soft target, and makes it a hard target.
Right, and a
why
lot of times
we're-
it's just a
that's why we-
deterrent, too.
You can't do it here, but we did it in the schools where you can't enter the building without having to be addressed by someone in the office first. You can't be even let into the structure. And, but that was safe school scenarios that we did when I was there. We had to renovate rooms, we had to move classrooms, we had to do a bunch of stuff just to get the school. So when you walked into the front door, you weren't walking into an area you could access a classroom. And now we've got something similar to that at the courthouse, but eventually that'll probably happen here too.
Okay. You know, this is probably a bare minimum of what we're going to see, you know, what we need. I mean, as things grow and things change, I mean, we talk about new justice complex, you know, how's that going to change down the road? You know, what are we going to need over there? You know, probation, and, you know, I haven't seen, so I told the commissioners yesterday, I said, I haven't seen what the plans or what the plan was inside the community corrections for probation. At one point in time, the plan showed a security post inside there that actually let people in and out based off of where they were going, whether it's juvenile or adult. I don't know whether that still exists or not exists. So, I mean, there's going to be some need down the road probably for some additional, but here we are trying to get a bare minimum to get something going, I think.
Okay, we got it. For 27.
May I ask a question, Sheriff? Is there a link somewhere where people can watch your documentary? I've received that request while we're sitting here.
No. Yeah. So the producer of it, you know, she's obviously got a business. And so what she's doing is we're doing some public ones, that's why I want to do a public. But she wants law enforcement agencies to purchase it so they can use it for training. And so that's why it's not just out.
Copyright problem.
I see. So if we get that request, we can just forward that on, just,
Yeah, yeah. And so I would really like to do a public showing,
Oh, with the officers.
use the high school maybe to do that.
You're the president.
How soon did you want those 5 new officers?
He just.
He just said.
He did, and I called it.
2027, and I think you want it like before 2027, like as soon as possible.
Yeah, that was
Or
my
like
hope.
mid-year.
Yes, I mean, because,
Everybody hopes, yeah.
well, I mean, I'm just going off of the conversation that's been taking place in the last few months between everybody and the judges and needing security and, needing it sooner than later. And so that's why I'm bringing it to us now to see if we can get something facilitated now. Now, that's obviously not my decision,
Is it possible if we only did part of the 5 this year, then finish the 5 for next year? Is that a possibility?
Everything's possible.
I mean, you could work with it.
3's better than none.
Right.
5's best.
Yeah, but if you didn't start the 5 till halfway through the year, you're looking at half that cost.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit like Kent. I think we've been very fortunate and nothing has happened that's too drastic in the courts. But, that would be money well spent if we save somebody's life. Or several somebodies.
Absolutely. Again, I'm bringing it to you guys, and I'm willing to listen and do what we need to do, but, the sooner the better, sooner the 5 the better, but it's not my decision
I'd like to see
make
us
that
work
happen.
towards a half year scenario.
Okay.
Yeah,
Say it out loud.
Yeah, I'd like to see us work towards a half-year scenario this year. I'd like to see us work towards a half-a-year scenario this year.
We're July 1st, he's got people going.
Yeah.
Well, let's,
I said earlier, I don't know why we need to beef up a rainy day because the money never gets used. So maybe if you're thinking about beefing up a rainy day, then maybe we can beef up security.
let's take it up in the council meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need a time frame so I know how to proceed,
Yeah.
And get my ducks in a row on when I start a process for hiring staff. Because I don't want to be, hey, we're good July 1, but I don't start till July 1. I want to start before. So I want to be ready to go when I have the spots. So, okay. I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. Auditor? Janine?
Just handed this to me in Fund 4700, our self-insurance liability. Our ending balance is $447,424. She needs money appropriated because she's got bills to pay.
that's the cash balance. We went over the funds earlier. So it's a cash balance that did not get appropriated. So we just need to appropriate that so that we can pay those bills. So I would just need a thumbs up to advertise.
Got it.
Thank you.
There you go.
Anything else?
I move we approve the
Auditor?
minutes.
Oh. Auditor, anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
Before we approve the minutes, Scott, Binky, the minutes included that in January, you would bring a different reimbursement resolution than what was discussed today for $500,000 for food and beverage. And so I just wanted to.
We already have that. I gave that to Sarah.
Oh, okay.
It was in early December. I already did that.
Yeah.
I was thinking you guys said it already. I did it already.
Not that the minutes need to change, but I just wanted to point out before we leave here today that
We agreed to do that.
apparently, I had to refresh my memory when I read the minutes that apparently there were that one too.
Oh, okay. I sent it out and.
Was it?
Mary, you have that, Mary Boma.
Well, no, he was supposed to create a $500,000 reimbursement resolution for fairgrounds from food and beverage to approve this month.
It's under 4H.
So that before we give the 4H the 500.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, but you do have it? Somebody is, okay, okay, perfect. That was my only thing I wanted to comment on.
Sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember.
I move we approve the minutes December 3rd.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
I abstain, I wasn't there either.
Well, I was
I move we
going to return
adjourn.
it to you, but I'll keep it.
Second.
Okay.
Are we done? I think we're done.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.